This is the Investor Connect podcast program. I'm Hall T. Martin. I'm the host of this show in which we interview angel investors, venture capital, family offices, private equity, and many other investors for early stage and growth companies. I hope you enjoy this episode. Well, hello, this is Hall Martin with Investor Connect. Today we're here with Lydia Kinkade of iiM. Lydia, thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having me, Hall.
So what was your background before investing in early stage companies? What did you do before this?
Prior to becoming an investor, I was actually in a completely different industry. After graduating from college with a degree in secondary education, I joined Teach for America, which is a nonprofit organization that places leaders in high-need schools to teach for 2 years. I stayed at my placement school for 3 years in Washington, D.C. before realizing my passion was not in teaching. After that, I reconnected with a mentor back here in Kansas, and we decided to launch iiM, which stands for Innovation in Motion, as an entrepreneurial approach to funding and supporting startups. I've now been with iiM for almost 7 years.
Well, great. So what excites you right now?
It really excites me to learn about and be part of the solutions to some of the most pressing challenges that span the globe. For example, how to provide nutrition to the nearly 10 billion people that are expected to populate our world by 2050. It is no longer an option, but it is a necessity to create new ways of producing food, both plant and animal-based, because our world literally depends on it. Closely connected with feeding the world is the need for innovation in the human health sector to provide a better quality of life for current and future generations.
Well, so you've been investing for some time. What's your advice for those who are investing in startups in, say, the ag and the animal health sector? What do you tell that investor they should do before they write that first check?
Sure. Well, as with many other industries, it can be difficult to navigate through the noise. Things can get pretty crowded in certain subsectors of ag and animal health. So it's important to take a really disciplined approach to due diligence and truly understand what differentiates the companies that are seeking investment from you. In addition to the due diligence component, we like to invest in companies that have a large addressable market, which means these are typically platform technologies that are led by entrepreneurs that have a deep understanding of the problem they're solving.
Great. And then on the other side of that table, what do you tell the CEO that's running a startup in those sectors? What should they do before they launch that startup?
Well, my advice to startups is to seek out value-add investors who can bring more to the table than just money. I would encourage entrepreneurs to think very carefully about who they're adding to their cap table and what types of investor partnerships they're cultivating. Your investors have a vested interest in your success, so they will be making introductions and opening doors for you that might otherwise not be opened.
Great. So let's talk about the state of investing. As an angel investor, you've seen quite a bit going on. How do you see the industry evolving and what changes do you see coming up?
Well, even over the last 3 to 5 years, we've been seeing larger rounds at earlier stages of company development, which can be both a positive and negative. It might be a positive because more capital earlier on can extend the startup's runway prior to having to hit the fundraising trail again. We know it takes a lot of effort and energy just to raise money. And we like to steer entrepreneurs back to work at raising the business. However, this can be a negative if the company starts to scale too quickly before they've really found their product's market fit, causing them to unnecessarily burn through a ton of money, and then they just have to keep raising more and more on top of that.
Great. And so let's talk about your investment thesis for these sectors. What do you look for in these startups, and what is your thesis itself?
Well, within the angel investing space and even the venture capital space, we're seeing more attention in general being given to the ag and animal health spaces, more so than I've ever seen before. More investors are starting to realize business opportunities in these industries, which is creating a more robust investment ecosystem. Just in the last 3 years, the industry has seen the development of ag and animal health focused funds, accelerators, and conferences, which speaks to the demand for innovation in this space. The human health sector continues to be massive with the ever increasing needs of our growing and aging population.
Great. And so what startups fit that thesis? What specifically do you look for?
Sure. So within our requirements of being a seed to Series A company in agriculture, animal health, and human health verticals, there are certain pockets of interest within those three that we really get excited about. So like I said before, our investors get the most excited about platform technologies that are solving big problems in large addressable markets. Within agriculture, We're interested in companies ranging from plant science to ag tech, SaaS platforms, robotics, and especially applications for traceability and food safety. Within animal health, we focus primarily on production animals. So we do see a lot of biotech companies focused on the animal health space and also technologies that can improve workflow for producers. And there's actually a ton of overlap with startups in the ag and animal health space. Within the human health space, we stay away from pharma and generally any products that are going to require more than a 510K regulatory approval. However, we do like medical devices that have a lower regulatory burden. And we, of course, like SaaS products in that space as well.
Okay. Do you have any revenue requirements on the non-FDA tools, or pre-revenue works for you guys as well?
Pre-revenue works for us. Generally, we like to see the company is at least starting to generate some revenue, but we have invested in pre-revenue companies in the past.
Oh, great. And what kind of success have you seen in this sector so far? It sounds like it's a growing one with more companies coming in. What do you think the outcome is going to be here?
I think the industry, in terms of startups growing and becoming successful, is still pretty new. The investor appetite is strong, but we're still seeing those exit pathways being built. I think there's a lot of opportunity within the digital space across all three sectors. I also think in terms of really delivering to customers major solutions to problems they're facing in the field or on the ground and their operations, those are really going to be key to startups that'll find success.
Great. So you see a lot of startups in this space. What are the challenges they face in launching their business? Is it the regulatory? Is it the market? Is it technology? Where do you see them spending their time?
Well, I think finding the right value-add investors still is a challenge, especially in the ag and animal health spaces. Even though we're seeing a lot of growth in the ecosystem, there's just not a large quantity in numbers of investors who really bring that expertise to the startups that they're investing in. So I think that can be a challenge. Maybe an entrepreneur with their startup is launching a product that they haven't really talked to their potential customers yet, and they don't have that deep understanding of what the needs of the market are. They can run into trouble from doing that. So the startup really needs to be able to develop a technology that is meaningful, intuitive, and has an appealing ROI for the customer, which can be really hard in industries where the margins are razor thin. But to get attention from any farmer or producer, the startup really has to deliver on all three of those components and more.
So you mentioned a number of sectors and applications a moment ago. If you had to pick one or two that's top of your list that you think investors should look at, which two would you call out?
Mm-hmm. I think within the ag space, I would really recommend paying attention to traceability and food safety. Those problems are just enormous globally, and we're starting to see the impact of those problems in a broad range of ways, in addition to just food safety. But even look at this outbreak with COVID-19. What if we had a better diagnostic tool? What if we had better functionality and better ways to trace what's really happening so that we can ensure the safety and well-being of people and animals alike? So yeah, certainly traceability and food safety are of high priority to me and to our group.
Very good. So in the last few minutes that we have here, what else should we cover that we haven't?
Well, I really think there has never been a better time to invest in the agriculture, animal health, and human health sectors. And really, the intersection of all three and the impact they have on our daily lives is creating lots of opportunity for entrepreneurs and investors alike. These industries desperately need innovation, and I am as excited to be a part of it.
Well, great. Well, how best for listeners to get back in touch with you?
LinkedIn is really the best way to find me, and please send a personal note when you're reaching out so I know what we're going to be chatting about.
Very good. I'll put those in the show notes. I want to thank you for joining us today and hope to have you back for a follow-up soon.
All right. Thanks a lot, all.
Investor Connect helps investors interested in startup funding. In this podcast series, experienced investors share their experience and advice. You can learn more at investorconnect.org. Halti Martin is the director of Investor Connect, which is a 501c3 nonprofit dedicated to the education of investors for early stage funding. All opinions expressed by Hall and podcast guests are solely their own opinions and do not reflect the opinions of Investor Connect. This podcast is for informational purposes only and should not be relied upon for the basis of investment decisions.